Hello everyone, welcome to Inconvenient Truths. I'm your host, Jennifer Zheng. Glad to see you all after a short break. Today I want to discuss two potential scenarios of Xi Jinping's demise and a significant explosion near Beijing. As a photo of Xi Jinping with a distressed expression spreads online, discussions within Beijing's official circles intensify regarding the potential scenarios of Xi's demise. Meanwhile, a real and sizable explosion rocks an area near Beijing, promoting speculation that the true cause may be linked to something closely tied to Xi's life or death. Today, let's dive into these two events. The widely circulated photo captures Xi Jinping during the CCP's annual Two Sessions meeting in Beijing on March 11th. He looked in great pain after drinking from one of the two cups in front of him. Notably, Xi is the only person with two cups, leading to speculation about his health. Many suspect that one cup contains Chinese herb medicine, hinting at underlying health issues. Anyway, after this photo was circulated like mad online, Beijing officials secretly discussed the photo, suggesting two potential outcomes for Xi's fate. Firstly, he may succumb to health issues within 2 years. Alternatively, he could instigate a conflict with Taiwan, leading to his demise during the ensuing turmoil. They said that he could end up worse than Romania communist leader Nicolae Ceausescu or Libyan dictator Gaddafi. Internal sources say a big reason Xi Jinping feels so much pressure is because some high-ranking officials he promoted haven't been loyal. These include former Foreign Minister Qin Gang, former Defense Minister Li Shangfu, and former Rocket Force Commander Li Yuchao. Xi Jinping calls them two-faced because they seem supportive to his face but turned on him later. This kind of betrayal is apparently Xi's worst fear, and it's why Xi Jinping seems to have aged so much in the past 6 months. Now, let's turn our attention to a major explosion that happened just 30 kilometers from outside Beijing. Let's start with some videos of this explosion. The explosion occurred on March 13th in the busy area of Yanjiang Langfang city in Hebei province. As you can see from the video, the explosion was so powerful that a 5-story building was completely destroyed, and many of the nearby vehicles were also badly damaged. Notice how this is the moment the explosion started, captured by a dash cam in the car.
我操！楼炸了！操你妈的傻逼，跟你妈逼2岁！看看。
我感觉肯定是人有伤亡，你看车，看那还有火呢，炸出来的。他这后边施工呢，你知道吗？这后边这2天这院里施工呢，我感觉是不是哪块施工 就是给管的或嘎弄坏了呀。
On the day after, on the day of the explosion, the CCP officials said that the blast killed only 2 people, and the next day they said the death toll was 7, with another 27 injured. However, there was widespread civilian disbelief in this death toll. Let's take a look at a photo of this building before it was blown up. It is in the Red Square. This building housed a privately run hotel, which people said had a high occupancy rate, and the explosion occurred at 7:54 a.m. So it is believed that there was a large number of people in the hotel at the time. A man and a writer posted on the internet that the hotel was run by a couple with a 9-year-old child, and that friends of the couple could no longer reach them after the explosion, and that it was likely that they had died in the blast. It is not known how many of the other occupants died. Here is a photo of the woman who ran this hotel with her husband. Here are some photos of the rooms in that hotel. Another thing that makes this story particularly extraordinary is that you can see even a reporter from China Central Television (CCTV) was interrupted by local officials and police officers who prevented her from broadcasting live from the scene after the explosion. You know, CCTV is one of the CCP's most important mouthpiece and has a very special status in China. Nobody would expect that even a CCTV reporter would be forcefully cut short during a live report. The funny thing is, after the live reporter was interrupted, the female host in the studio seemed a bit surprised, while the male host started to talk about a house explosion in Pennsylvania, USA, which killed 2 people, as if nothing has happened. Most of the time, the CCP's media is just like this. They don't dare to report or report much about disasters in China, but they always pay extra attention to disasters in the United States. Another CCTV reporter, Xu Mengze, was also pushed by a dozen police officers when he went to the scene of the explosion. After he posted this video online, his social media account is no longer searchable in China.
您的工作证，
你是什么人？是警察吗？
我不是警察。
那你什么权利都没有？
把工作证亮出来。
我们什么权利都没有。
A foreign media reporter who speaks perfect Mandarin Chinese and who went to cover the event was also refused permission to do so, causing resentment among the Patriotic unruly.
现场的情况。
So what was the cause of the explosion? Officials initially said the explosion was caused by a gas explosion at a fried chicken restaurant, but the staff at the restaurant said they did not use gas, but electricity, and that they had not yet begun business when the accident occurred, and that the restaurant had not been destroyed by the explosion. Later, officials said that it was caused by a leak in the gas pipeline that delivered the gas. However, many people are still very skeptical of this claim. If the underground gas pipeline leakage caused the explosion, the ground should also be blown up, and the explosion point is often the same as the pipeline in a linear arrangement. But instead, only one building was blown up in this explosion, and the ground and foundation of the building were not destroyed. Phoenix News, the official media of the CCP, said that with reference to previous accidents and the extent of the damage caused by the explosion, the power of the explosion was equivalent to at least 100 kilograms of TNT. A more knowledgeable person did some calculations and concluded that it would take 1,300 cubic meters of natural gas and 8,600 cubic meters of air for mixing, a total of about 10,000 cubic meters of space to achieve an explosion similar to the power of 100 kilograms of TNT. 10,000 cubic meters of space. Can you imagine that? Based on this, some people say that the gas explosion story is simply not true. That is why some people speculated that the explosion was probably man-made and that someone wanted to deliberately create an incident, or that a lot of explosives had been stored in that building. Some people even said clearly that the explosion was aimed at the convoy of Chen Wenqin, a close confidant of Xi Jinping and the head of the CCP's Central Political and Legal Affairs Commission, saying that Chen was going there on that day and that the timing of the explosion was not controlled well and it went off too early. However, former Chinese journalist Zhao Lanjian gave one of the most shocking accounts so far, saying that a reliable friend of his told him it was caused by a failed test firing of a Dongfeng 17 missile from the PLA's Eastern Theater. Because Zhao Lanjian's parents are still in China, he dared not ask for more details about the missile failure. He said his parents had already been harassed by the CCP police, but he said as his friend is very reliable, he believes that what he said is true. Taking all aspects into account, I think this explanation is more in line with the same than other official explanations. In theory, it is impossible to understand the cause of such a big explosion so quickly, and before the real cause and the person responsible are found, the scene should be protected as much as possible. However, the fact that the CCP cleaned up the thing overnight in the first place, and that even the CCP reporters had to be driven away, can only mean that there is a major secret that needs to be covered up here. There were also jokes about whether or not the missiles fired by the rocket force towards Beijing had been intercepted. Although this is only a joke, considering the location of the explosion, only about 30 kilometers from Beijing, and the extent to which the CCP is trying to cover up the incident, it may not be entirely without merit. Perhaps Xi Jinping's fear of rocket force missiles is the reason why so many senior rocket force generals have been arrested. If it was really the result of a failed test firing of a Dongfeng 17 missile, it would suggest that Xi Jinping is stepping up his combat preparations. Then, as the story circulating in Beijing's official circles goes, even if he does not die of a disease, he will probably be killed after waging war. Finally, I'd like to invite you to share your views about the most likely cause of the explosion. Please post your insights in the comments section for everyone to see. Well, that's all for today. Please help me spread the word by subscribing to my channel or sharing my videos. If you feel like signing up for a membership or make a donation to support me, please visit my website at jenniferzengblog.com. jenniferzengblog.com. Thank you. See you next time.